Running into my accent, getting tied up in a dark room for training. Not gonna sob me. No way. I'm begging for Pushai forgiveness. Real identity of a team leader. Getting caught was an accident. Falling into my ex's hands was an even bigger accident. How it all started. It began with a news report about a trafficking case from content was about the current Divine Society president and investigator Lang. And the manner incident was one of the worst trafficking cases in recent years. Now the Divine Society is split into two factions. One supports Lu Minging, the former president's younger brother.
One supports Lu Ming, the former president's
Power
only
struggle
son.
between them
Has far-reaching effects.
Hashtag Divine Society. After getting the message, wanted him to hold off coming back to the country. Someone with an agenda brought this
Most
up
likely
again.
revenge.
Because Sang Lingyu is that investigator from the case. He already came back early. He had something he absolutely had to do. At the same time, Divine Society President the one from that trafficking case mentioned earlier, who was accused of leaking critical intel, and also Sang Lingyu's ex was already attacked. Sang Lingyu finally tracked down the bad guys and wasn't backing down. Don't worry, I'll be careful. Successfully got the guards at the door to lift. You must watch your safety. Got it. He checked the room number and not, but the door wasn't just a light touch and it opened. But at that moment a big guy suddenly appeared behind. No discussion, just kicked him straight into the room. His earpiece fell to the ground in the struggle. Sang Lingyu reached out to grab one last chance for help, but the guy kicked it away. Sure enough, it's Lu Ming. Long time no see. Colonel Sang, all my effort to lure you in wasn't wasted. At that moment, Sang Lingyu realized he'd been set up. Lu Ming ordered his men to clean him up and bring him over. To be exact, he was treating Sang Lingyu as a major gift. Long time no see. As although Colonel Sang, all my effort to lure you in wasn't wasted. Clear footsteps echoed in the quiet hallway. Next second, the door was pushed open. Light spilled in from far to near. Sang Lingyu's whole body was bound by ropes, unable to move. Blinding bright light fell on his perfect face at that moment. The man stood in the open doorway. He spoke and called Sang Lingyu's name.
This voice, Lu Ming.
Actually, both were pretty surprised. Never thought they'd meet again like this. Lu Ming couldn't hold back and asked, "When you betrayed, did you ever think this day would?" Sang Lingyu had nothing to it. He's still as stubborn as that. Do whatever you want. Bring it on. Sure enough, one sentence was enough to make Lu Ming furious. He raised his little toy. Wanted to teach him a harsh lesson, but facing Sang Lingyu, he couldn't help but go soft. Lu Ming suddenly lifted Sang Lingyu's chin, threatening him with, "You know that's not what I want to hear." Right, what Lu Ming wanted to hear was why Sang Lingyu betrayed him back then, and why he killed his father. Sang Lingyu laughed coldly and shot back. When has the Divine Society ever done it? He wasn't gonna answer any more questions. Don't waste your energy. You'll never get the answers you want from me. Lingyu seemed to deliberately provoke Lu Ming.
This voice, hail prince.
It's Lu Ming. Lu Ming laughed bitterly. Hey, when it comes to interrogation, well, I'm no match for you. Instructor Sang, when you betrayed me, did you ever think this day would come? I've got all the time in the world to crack that mouth of yours. Only he knows. The Sang Lingyu watched the man's retreating back. Silently said sorry in his heart. Please forgive him for having reasons. Now's not the right time for everything. At the same time, Lu Ming didn't leave right away after coming out. He just wanted the truth. What happened? That could make Sang Lingyu choose to betray him without hesitation. These 4 years, every time he got close to the truth, but the evidence went cold. Sang Lingyu clearly said he'd always be on his side. Why? Lu Ming felt so unwilling and helpless. Could he only pathetically take it out on the wall? Right then his secretary rushed in with urgent
Someone
already
news.
leaked the news that Sang Lingyu was in Lu Ming's hands. This was pretty much expected. He wasn't planning to dodge. Before leaving, Lu Ming told his secretary to take good care of. He personally handle his meals, don't go through anyone else. Make sure he's safe. Man locked in a dark room by his ex. Except for that brief moment when Fudogo would only lie motionless in the darkness. His ex brought people to humiliate him then was about to leave. He saw his chance and successfully took him hostage. A week ago, Sang Lingyu found something important while chasing a criminal. He subdued the guy and grabbed. Accidentally saw something on the punk's neck. This white swan neck was a birthday gift he gave his sister Yush.
He wouldn't mistake it. 好可爱.
Scared, the punk could only tell the truth. Dusha gave it to him to take home to his girlfriend. Sang Lingyu knew this guy. A mad dog working for Lu Ming. He suspected his sister's case was connected to the Divine Society. So the next day he applied for an investigation. But his boss didn't approve. He thought going after the Divine Society based on one suspect's empty word was too risky. The boss knew his sister's death really hit Sang Lingyu hard. But he didn't approve of bringing emotions into work. Sang Ling did have personal reasons, but he insisted the punk was just one of Lu Ming's regular goons. No way he could single-handedly build an entire trafficking network. Right when they were arguing, someone suddenly burst through the door shouting bad news. Seconds ago, the punk killed himself in prison. What amazing comics does Yuji not know about? You can check out the exciting continuation. Back to a few days later. Since Lu Ming left, Sang Lingyu hadn't touched a thing. Not a grain of rice, not a drop of water. But he just lay there on the ground for days. Until his brain started getting foggy and his vision blurred. Ending like this would be fine. Call it atonement. When he came to again, he found two uninvited guests in the dock. Though his eyes were closed, he could tell from their voices who they were. He was certain that Mad Dog Lu wasn't here just to humiliate him and watch him suffer. Right then Sang Lingyu had a crazy idea.
As the two were about to leave,
He gripped the broken porcelain shard hidden behind him. Just as he proceeded, though his body barely had any strength, taking hostage someone off, he could still pull it. Sang Lingyu got straight to it. He urgently needed to confirm if his sister's death was Lu Xiao's doing. But before he could finish, Lu Ming lashed him with a whip.
stay down.
I still have the energy to fight back. Looks like you haven't suffered enough. 1 second the man wanted to use every method to tame him. But the next second he suddenly cut his own palm, getting ready to save him. He pressed down with a gulping sounds echoed through the whole room. Last time we saw Sang Lingyu take Lu Xiao hostage, wanting to question him about his sister's kill. But his ex cruelly whipped him down, then grabbed his throat to stop another sneak attack. I told you, boss, if you're too hasty you'll never get what you want. Lu Ming scoffed dismissively. If he's hasty he needs a good lesson. Otherwise yoga practice would be such a buzzkill. Lu Ming said humiliating words, but inside he felt conflicted. Don't miss next week's board meeting. Watch out for Femme Fatale. Finally got rid of that mad dog Lu Xiao. The moment the door closed behind him. Turns out everything he did was an act. And performed. Lu Ming worriedly patted the guy lying motionless on the ground, only to find his skin was ice cold. That shouldn't be. He controlled his strength just now. Lu Ming guessed maybe it was from not eating for days. He passed out from weakness. Sake. He pulled out a knife and slashed his palm open. And to briefly restore. At that moment Lu Ming had only one thought. Sang Lingyu, if you want me to trust you, wake up now. Then he leaned down. The empty room was very quiet. Only the sound of gulping remained. What amazing comics does Yuzi not know about? You can check out the exciting continuation. Their lips and chins still had traces of blood. Thankfully after the nutrient solution, Sang Lingyu looked much. Just then the secretary rushed in saying the private car had arrived. Quickly carried him to the hospital. To prevent him from escaping, Lu Ming put a safety strap on Sang Lingyu. Quick! Get the ventilator. Bring the nutrient solution. And the busy doctors rushing around. His heart. But now wasn't the time for romance. As soon as Sang Lingyu was brought to the hospital, word got out. Just then medical staff suddenly pushed a cart of medicine past, instantly raising Lu Ming's suspicion. He clearly arranged to clear the floor. How were people still coming and going, sneaking in so blatantly under his nose? That could only mean quite a few people had their eyes on Ayo. Colonel San's being targeted again. But got kicked to the ground. This assassination ended before it even started. Last time someone snuck in hospital during the chaos. Sure enough, they were after Sang Lingyu. But this person was from their investigation. So Lu Ming didn't stop them. Right now the two were silently communicating in Morse code. Soon Lu Ming came out. The messenger boldly left right in front of him again. Knowing his love was okay, Lu Ming finally relaxed. The next day someone was selling flowers outside the hospital. Entrance was too flashy and he got spotted right away. An old lady with a kind smile asked if he wanted to buy flowers. Unsurprisingly blocked by bodyguard.
Hey, if you're not buying, then
I
fine.
sent my flowers. Lu Ming picked up the only flower that fell on the ground, returned it to the old lady and apologized for his guard's rudeness. But the old lady smiled and generously gave him the flower. This flower is very fresh. Hope you and your partner have a wonderful day. It's a blue Irish. You mentioning partner. Lu Ming immediately thought of Sang Lingyu. Ayu would probably be happy to see it, so he accepted it on impulse. But the moment he turned, the old lady smiled. At the same time, Lu Ming immediately removed the tracker stuck to his back. If you think you can steal him from me with these tricks, what you didn't know, the old lady had a backup. That iris Lu Ming was holding was what she really wanted to leave for Sang. Suddenly the sky was blocked by something, along with a huge rumbling sound. This is bad. Might be serious trouble. At the same time, Sang Lingyu in the hospital room heard the commotion. So loud. What's happening outside? At the same time, Xianqing guarding outside the room suddenly noticed.